This year, we're on pace to spend around $100,000 for Amazon SaaS. The question is, does it actually move the needle? Many people obviously hear about SaaS. Amazon has a sales team dedicated to selling it, but very few can decide whether it's worth it or not. And hopefully, I'm going to do this in this video. So my name is Jassim Isa. I'm the CEO and founder of Videra, a $100 million Amazon e-commerce company. And we've been through so much things, obviously, we're having around 20 to 30,000 SKUs. We've been on Amazon for around a decade. So we've worked with SaaS and we've worked without SaaS. If you're a brand owner trying to figure out if SaaS is worth it, in this video, I'll break down what SaaS is, what the pricing is, who it's for, in my opinion, obviously, who it's not for based on what we saw as well, and how and if we're planning to use it, obviously, moving forward. What is SaaS and how does the pricing work? So SaaS is basically Amazon. It stands for Strategic Account Services. So basically, you get a dedicated employee in Amazon. It's like an account manager for your account. They're managing around, I think it's depending on the account size, 6 to 12 accounts at a time. So they have quite the heavy load. I'm going to talk about the benefits that they offer, obviously, after this, but just a high level overview. And now for their pricing, there's a minimum base fee of $1,600 a month. And then after that, it's 0.3% of sales. They might change it, obviously, come and go. But then it's also up to the max is $7,500 a month. We're actually at the max. So if you're above $50 million in sales, you're at the highest tier, which is $7,500 a month. And also, another thing to keep in mind is that the higher level you are, the higher level person you'll get. So for us, we have thankfully a US based rep. They're based out of Austin, the Amazon office. They're L5 person, but let's say you're lower revenue, you might get someone that's overseas that may have less expertise at Amazon and has less pull. So that's also something to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to get into the tangible benefits that we notice from the SaaS program. Obviously, after that, I'll get into the intangible benefits, but I wanted to mention 7 of them that we thought were most relevant or have been most relevant for us. So obviously, the first thing is you get a dedicated account manager, the SaaS person, you get their email, you can reach out to them when needed, and I'll get more into in the intangible benefits what that person does as well. The second thing, we're early access to beta programs. So you can think of a lot of programs that are available on Amazon. So for example, before there was A+ content, now it's A++ content or premium A+ content. Usually the first people that get access to these newer programs are users of SaaS. A recent one was the VPB, Virtual Product Bundles. SaaS also got initial access to that. So all the newer programs in Amazon, perhaps for a month or two, the SaaS users get early access to that. So that's something to keep in mind. The third one that actually, this one's really helpful, is issue assistance escalation. So let's say, for example, a case gets denied. We've all dealt with Amazon where you feel like an AI is reviewing your stuff or they're just denying for the sake of it. You can kind of start ringing bells and whistles. So like, okay, look at this. You know you have all the documents ready. Again, you don't want to cry wolf. You want to use this when needed. That's what we do. But basically, you still have to open a case. And if the case doesn't get responded within 5 days, you can email, I think it's SAS.issueassistance@amazon.com. And then they review it. So they have a senior person review it, usually a program manager. And then even if they deny, you can use your SaaS person themselves to even escalate it further if you're very confident, obviously, that your case is legitimate. So that's the third one again. Part of just an example of the issue assistance that we've used actually was basically we had a brand restriction. We had all the appropriate documents. We had a letter of authorization. We had everything that we needed, and it just kept on getting denied. After we kind of got sick of it, it was like a week or two. I was like, all right, let's go to SaaS Assistance. Thankfully, got resolved from there. But if it didn't, obviously, we would have escalated it further. So I think eventually we would have still got it resolved through seller support. It just maybe would have taken a month or two. So it makes things move a little bit faster. The fourth benefit is that you get a free deal a week. So whether that's a lightning deal, a best deal, etc. These usually, they just increased the prices like a few weeks ago, but they're usually a couple $100 a week. So I think it's around $200 a week, like the average that we've noticed, depending on how it is. I don't know in the new structure if they're going to include the percentage of sales. Our SaaS manager said they should. That would obviously make a difference as well. The fifth benefit is actually sitting right behind me here. So you get a SaaS self-service portal. It has a lot of things on it. What this does is also automates a lot of things, but it gives you additional insights. So you can see over here, you have, for example, A+ content, detail page optimization. If you have duplicates, new item setup, GTIN suppression. So when you have a UPC, for example, that's not working, catalog attribute update. So anyone can actually access this page, surprisingly, but you can't use it unless you're registered as a part of SaaS, which so we can use create a task here or whatever when needed. out of these things. And a big issue is, for example, if your product gets tagged as adult product classification, so the category ledger is inaccurate, then you can actually go here and raise an issue and it can be resolved fairly quickly. Instead of opening a case, someone AI automatically declining it, or a rep that's bored at the end of his shift just deciding to decline it, this is where you get more serious eyeballs the issue. The sixth one is that you also get an MBR, a monthly business review. So that's where the dedicated SAS manager we talked about, they set a monthly recurring schedule to go over high-level details about your account. It gives you general updates, any new things that Amazon came from about you. Probably, in case you missed anything, you get to see it there. And this actually leads us into the seventh one, which is my favorite, actually. So the seventh one is the strategic insights, relevant reports. There's some confidential reports that we've been able to get access to. They're not confidential in terms of like we're not supposed to get them, but they're kind of hidden a little bit. So it's kind of like a little bit of our secret sauce. So my leadership board would probably get mad if I share these, but there's other relevant reports that you can also get provided that will help you advance things, give you insight that you can't see on outside platforms, that basically fixing attributes, a lot of that kind of stuff is also another benefit. And even the strategic insights from your SAS, like if you have something in the wrong category, they might be able to see it. So another set of eyes to give insights either through the reports or through the basically SAS manager themselves. There's also other smaller stuff that we've benefited from it, just very technical stuff, just emailing about this or emailing details on a program, or get like secondary or like more deeper level insight on what's permissible, what's not permissible, and getting that from our SAS manager directly rather than the generic report that Amazon puts out. So now let's get into the intangible benefits, which actually I like more than the tangible benefits. So obviously the biggest one for us is the relationship. So when we're talking to someone senior, ideally, let's say when you go to Amazon Accelerate this year, we're going to shake hands with higher level people. That opens the door to meeting like actual decision makers, key stakeholders that can actually benefit us. And the second biggest intangible benefits is insurance for business critical situations. So let's say a listing gets taken down, a competitor tries to give us basically false negative one-star reviews. All that kind of stuff is also stuff that they can help with. Obviously, the health of the account itself. If anything happens, hopefully the SAS person can move things through quicker and push things faster. What SAS won't do. So this is things that SAS isn't capable of doing. A lot of people have misconceptions that we've heard talking about it. So the first thing is them doing the nitty gritty. They're not going to go in there like run your ads or do A+ content for you. You still have to have obviously personnel and within your team that's going to perform that. They're also not going to push through something that's illegitimate. If you have a LOA that's not accurate or doesn't have the proper documentation, or even a reimbursement case that doesn't have the right receipts, the right invoices, the right tracking IDs, at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to overcome illegitimate documentation or anything along those lines. They're going to just have a real human look at it. Maybe sometimes wish for that and speed things to get to that stage. So that's what they're going to obviously help with. That's the biggest thing that we've seen with them. You have to think of them as leverage, not necessarily execution, newer eyes to see stuff. That's the way we look at it, basically. Also, obviously, depends on the SaaS person you get. Hopefully, you get a hustler, not someone has 45 accounts and they're lazy and they're overwhelmed and they can't get to you or whatever. That's also a big caveat to this as well. Who is SaaS not relevant for? Basically, if you're an RA/OA seller or even a wholesale seller that doesn't have brand registry, Amazon, the SaaS program becomes much less potent for you. You don't have A+ content that's applicable. You don't need, for example, the best free deal a week. A lot of the tangible assets that we talked about become much less relevant for you, and they can't flex their muscles per se using that kind of stuff. The other one is if you're overburdened and you or your team can't reach out to SaaS to utilize them, basically put them to work, ask for the relevant things. They're not going to kind of do things, I wouldn't say proactively. I don't want to unfairly criticize them, but they do kind of have to be sent requests to do stuff. So if you're overly busy, you're not going to be sending requests. That's also another thing that will be much less relevant, where SaaS will be much less relevant for you. And another scenario is if your time is on your side. You don't need to address things very quickly. Like I said, we didn't have SaaS for many years. We still got our business done. We still were fine, thankfully. But things did maybe take a little bit longer. We did maybe feel like we were unfairly rejected on cases. Perhaps if we had SAS, we still would have been rejected. Maybe we submitted the wrong documents. That's one of the things that also I would say that if you have time on your side or your low margin business or low business, that's still $1,600 minimum a month. That's very expensive. That's where you have to reconsider it. It's still a very expensive, obviously, investment. The biggest reasons we're deciding to keep it is that basically there's three of them, I would say mainly. The first one is that it's a fixed cost. So no matter, even if our revenue, hopefully we're planning to reach 3, 4, 500 million soon, even $1 billion soon, it's still going to be the $7,500 a month. So that's great. We can obviously spread that across our portfolio of brand, our dozens of brands. So that's also really helpful. So it becomes cheaper as we grow, and we're planning to grow. The second one is it adds value in our deal and pipeline flow. So when we're getting brands on, they know things can be addressed quicker. They know that we work through them. Obviously, we utilize the SAS to its max. Obviously, that's very beneficial and a big value add to brands. This is also in addition to the fact that we offset a lot of the costs through its internal tools. So through maybe getting rejected reimbursements pushed through to, let's say, listings categorized appropriately. If something is categorized as an adult product, we can't run ads. That's going to kill that listing. So we want to make sure it's reclassified appropriately. That's also a big reason for it. So for us, SAS is a way to future-proof our operations. Obviously, it's not going to be guaranteed, but it just adds that extra level of security, but it also adds value to our partners, to ourselves, to move things through quicker. To recap, SAS basically gives you internal insights or two relevant tools. They're not necessarily the execution or the action. You make them, they're as good as you make them. So you're going to push to see what you can do, work with them appropriately, obviously nicely, and accommodate what can be given. But all in all, they could be very helpful. If you found this video helpful and you're looking to grow your brand, watch our Amazon mini growth video series. We talk about click-through rate, conversion rate, impressions, and go through the full gamut of basically what can grow your brand. If you're also looking to speak to an expert, you can visit us at videra.com, schedule a strategy call, speak to one of our experts, see how you can grow your brand. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more of these videos, and give this video a like if you found this helpful. But also leave a comment. I'm planning to respond to all of them if you have any additional questions about SAS.